Well, how do we get people to follow us? How do we get people to be persuaded by our role in the leadership? In the old days, well, I'm the boss because I'm the smartest, but in this day of the internet, everyone can find out everything immediately. Not so easy anymore to be a leader. You have to be persuasive. Great. How do you do that? That's what we're going to look at today in today's show. Welcome back to this weekly edition every Monday of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, your corporate coaching and training guy, president of Dale Carnegie Training here in Japan, and best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery. Also have my new book out, Japan Business Mastery. We are bringing the show to you from our High Performance Center here in Akasaka in Minato-ku, the business center of Tokyo. Why the cutting edge? In this show, we are looking at the critical areas for success in business in Japan. We want to help advance everyone's thinking so that we can be at the forefront, at the cutting edge of how to flourish here in this market. Before we get into this week's topic, here is what caught my attention lately. Here is some bad news for pollen allergy sufferers in Japan. The National Federation of Health Insurance Societies, the Kemporen, have proposed that prescription drugs to treat hay fever containing the same content as their non-prescription counterparts, the generics, should be excluded from the public medical insurance coverage system. Hay fever patients who pay only 10 to 30% of the costs of these drugs would need to fund the full cost from their own pockets. The savings would be about $560 million a year for public health costs. Nationally, 1 in 4 people suffer from these allergies, and in a big city like Tokyo, the number is probably closer to half. In other news, the government is going to increase subsidies for companies whose employees take paternity leave. The rate of staff taking the leave is only about 6%, and far from the government's goal of 13% by 2020. Japan ranked 41st in a UNICEF report on paternity leave based on legal entitlements. The reasons cited why more men don't take the leave were companies being short-handed and a corporate culture that makes it hard for employees to request paternity leave. Finally, financial institutions are starting to implement measures to address issues related to the dementia issues amongst their aging customer base. Elderly people hold 60% of individuals' assets in total, and that's some $16 trillion. The number of aging dementia sufferers is projected to grow to 7.3 million by 2025. The share of assets held by dementia sufferers is expected to top 10% by 2030. Banks are training their staff on how to support customers with dementia. They are also requiring that customers suspected of having dementia be accompanied by their family members when they visit the bank. This is episode number 102, and we are talking about how to persuade followers. それでは行きましょう. So let's get going. The tried and true leadership model of do what I say or else is a personal favorite of people who actually can't lead. This is the military model, which works well when bullets are flying and your death is a requirement to achieve the broader objective. This is ridiculous, though, as a model for business, and yet it lingers on. Death is not imminent, but following idiots probably does shorten our lives. Higher degrees, certification, specialisation, longevity, technical knowledge, etc., all are relied on for authority to convince others that we should be in charge. But should we be in charge? Leaders and managers have different roles. Managers, they're there to manage the processes of the organisation, to make sure that what needs to be done is completed in a timely fashion and correctly. Leaders do all that too. They set the vision and they have an additional role, which is to develop people. This is where the my way or the highway breaks down. We respect knowledge and ability more than we respect position, power, degrees, or degrees of self-aggrandizement. The thing we respect most, though, is how much interest the boss has in helping us to grow our careers. How much sympathy and understanding has the boss for my personal situation at home, because my aging parents requiring care, or my marriage is hitting a rocky patch, or my kid is having all sorts of problems. In the old days, there was a clear separation between the individual's work, that life there, and the private situation over here, and the boss would never go there, as that was considered intrusive and none of their business. Times have changed and society seems more complex today. We want people to bring their whole selves to work. That means the staff have to input ideas, greater creativity. This is something really new that we need from people. Technological advances have plugged the entire advanced world into a 24/7 cycle of work. Persuading people of the why is leading today, not just pointing out the what and the how. Apart from professional salespeople who move up into management, there are probably a few leaders who are any good at persuading anyone of anything. They are usually poor presenters, especially the technically oriented types. They are working off the old paradigm of, I'm smarter than you, that's why I am the leader, and so do what I say. If we want our organisation to be powered by just the brains and experience of these few leaders, well, that's fine. If we want to bring the entire power of our teams to the battle front line with our competitors, it is not sufficient. Find out more when we come back from the break. If you want to be successful as a leader, do the Leadership Training for Managers course. All companies need people who can both manage and lead. Leading people screams out for real skills in communication, dealing with all different types of people, being excellent at innovation, planning, delegation, handling mistakes, doing performance reviews really well, and inspiring and motivating the team. Do the Leadership Training for Managers course now in either Japanese or English. Are you doing business with Japan? Do you really know how things work? Japan Business Mastery provides the answers. Do you have the right networks and know how to create them? Do you know how to get on the same wavelength with Japanese buyers? Do you know what being trustworthy looks like from the Japanese perspective? Japan Business Mastery is based on more than 30 years' experience in Japan and will become your go-to guide. Want to succeed in Japan? Buy Japan Business Mastery now. Welcome back. We need as many engaged brains as possible, assembled and working on the problems facing us. The spark of creativity is not solely located in the leader's brain. The youngest, newest employee may have keen insights and openness to new possibilities that the leaders who've moved from the front line cannot even recognize anymore. Depending on the market, they may also be closer to the customer than their much older bosses. The point is, how to persuade our staff to think, to be creative, motivated, to come up with better ideas than our rivals. The issue is how to get them engaged completely, rather than just simply working at a mediocre rate, collecting their pay, and then switching their brains off as they hit the building. We want the technical expert who, as a leader, gets a rush of blood to the head and starts telling people the why, sometimes to stop doing that and assume that the team must have the why. They've got that, they're good to go. But I wish it was that easy. One of the surprising things about leadership is that you have to keep telling the people the same things over and over again, and you cannot assume they ever fully get it. In our office, we start the day by getting everyone together and going through the vision, mission, values, and we do it on a daily rotation. We do one of the Dale Carnegie principles. Now, why do we do this every day? Connecting the team to the why we are doing this work is the single most important job of the leader. Each person takes turns leading the session, so it is not reliant on my being there. The alternative, which you no doubt have seen, is to frame all of this stuff and hang it up on the wall so everyone can remain oblivious to it. Not much of an alternative really, is it? Better to make it real and remind everyone every day about the why. So, we need to make time available to explain the why to the people, to the team. Keep repeating it and find ways to tap into the full power of the brains populating our organization. Here is a new challenge for bosses. Drop the I know everything, now do this approach, and take on the what do you think alternative instead. This is a radical idea for many leaders, but an absolutely important one. Asking questions will yield so much more in the way of dividends than telling everyone what to do and how to do it. If you can make the switch, you will have more success because you are able to outthink the opposition. Even if they copy you, they'll always be one step behind. They also miss out on the motivational aspect of team members seeing their ideas coming to fruition. This builds teamwork and higher levels of engagement. Your rivals will have a very hard time trying to copy that because you have created an ecosystem of success that is distinctly your own. The Cutting Edge Japan Business Show is here to help you succeed in Japan. Subscribe on YouTube, share it with your family, friends, and colleagues. Become a regular. Thank you for watching this episode, and remember, hit the subscribe button. Our website details are on screen now. enjapan.dalecarnegie.com. Awesome value, so check it out. Please leave me some feedback on YouTube. I would love to know how the show has helped you and what other topics you're interested in for me to cover. Remember, I'm here as a free resource to help you. So just tell me how I can help you best. You might also enjoy my other weekly shows for podcasts. Mondays for the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show podcast version. Tuesday, the Presentations Japan series. Wednesdays, the Sales Japan series. Thursdays, the Leadership Japan series. And Fridays for the Japan Business Mastery Show podcast version. Again, all of those wherever you get your podcast. Also on Fridays, I'll release my other TV show, the Japan Business Mastery Show, on YouTube. In episode 103, we are talking about the danger zone when presenting. Find out more about that next week. So, yoroshiku onegai itashimasu. Please join me for the next episode of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. We are here to help you, and we've only got one direction in mind for you and your business, and that is up.